I'm now joined on the phone line with Tarek Fatah. He's also a columnist, writer. Tarek Fatah, Salman Rushdie, you know, he's had a death threat bounty on him by the Muslim radicals for the longest time. Are you picking up on any information what happened here? Because this clearly looks like an assassination attempt.
Well, obviously it is. We can't be sure who it is. But as thinking people and as followers of how there's a group of folks who would like to kill anyone who expresses a perspective that is supposedly insulting to them. And people have not forgotten that the Ayatollah Khomeini gave a fatwa to kill him. But he died earlier than Salman Rushdie could, and this attack seems to be an extension of that. After all, Salman Rushdie is an author and a writer. He couldn't have been attacked for someone to steal.
Fatah, do you think that his book, Satanic Verses, the controversy around it, the outrage over it, has something to do with possibly this attack as well against him? It's a young man on stage who goes to start stabbing him.
Well, obviously it is. When we will not restrain this madness that is swept not just the United States. In India, you've seen how people, their slogan, Sarkar se juda, ek hi saza, all that nonsense is going on, and nobody seems to be able to tackle this madness. So,
how do you look at this? You know, he's a renowned author, has always been, despite the threats, he said exactly what he felt, he wanted to say, he was backing it with facts. But this time, with such an attempt, this could put a lot of writers in the dock. It's a fearful situation. He's on stage, he's delivering a lecture, and then someone comes on the stage and starts to stab him.
The irony is that he was speaking to authors who have escaped tyranny in their own countries and have sought refuge in the United States to be able to say or write what they can. And here we have people killing him, attempting to kill him, speaking about freedom of speech and freedom of thought and expression. I mean, this has gone to a stage where unless action is taken, these killings will continue. And the main victims of this horror are fellow Muslims.
Why do you say that? What makes you say that? Because you're making a very pertinent point here. Would you like to explain what you just said, Mr. Tarek Fatah?
Well, the easiest people to kill is fellow Muslims by declaring them as apostates. This has continued for hundreds of years. People have been beheaded for the simple reason. I mean, I don't need to go into history, but someone saying, I am al-haq, I am the truth, was beheaded in Baghdad in the 10th century. We have been doing this forever, and nobody seems to be able to say plainly that this is outrageous, because as soon as you say it's outrageous, somebody else gets offended.
Do you think this is about people getting offended, which has been a part of a writer's life, but to be facing attacks like that in a public location, despite threats going on about his life, that also speaks about the situation of how people easily offended are willing to stab and attack the writers as well they disagree with, and this could be across the spectrum.
Because in their state of mind, they are doing something in the service of Allah. They are doing something that will take them to paradise. This is what is happening, and nobody is standing up. I face these threats almost every week. Somebody or else, even in the streets here in Toronto, will come to me, spit on my face, or say something like that. But
Mr. Tarek Fatah, you tend to offend a lot of people all the time, yet you say what you believe in, what you think is correct. And Salman Rushdie, a Booker Prize winner, had been writing since the 1980s. Midnight's Children was his first book, sold over 1 million copies in the United Kingdom alone. All was well for him till Midnight's Children. When he wrote the Satanic Verses, that's when it suddenly seemed to go different for him with regard to offended sentiments across the world. And that with even countries issuing a fatwa and death threats against him, and yet he continued to stand by his book and continued to write. But then when this incident happens, this is clearly fearful as well.
It is the news that happens 24/7. Anyone who ever had anything to say to bring the Muslim community into the 21st century will face this threat. Because killing an apostate is considered a very honorable thing amongst from Islamic law. Anybody who kills an apostate will go to paradise. So either we follow the dictates of our constitution or parliamentary law, or we determine medieval, murderous methodology.
Mr. Tarek Fateh, while the identity is not yet known and the police, while have confirmed the stabbing, they are waiting to reveal about who this young man was. The visuals also on our screen right now of that young man who's now been apprehended, who attempted that stabbing and an assassination attempt on Salman Rushdie. What do you think can change this? This can be any writer writing something controversial and someone attacks him. And in this case, Salman Rushdie has had a clear death threat on him since 1988 after the Satanic verses. So what do you think can change this?
It can only change if those Muslims who are sensible and sane get out of their homes and say openly that not in my name. But the rest of us are scared because everyone has children, everyone has parents, everyone has family, and they are threatened.